One. Bum 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 bum. I look low on my chair. I'll sit a little higher. What do you get when you fall in love? What do you get when you kiss a guy? You only get germs, catch pneumonia. Then he'll never phone ya. I'll never fall in love again. Okay, here come Perry and Amy. Hi. And Elaine, Rebecca. Hi, a little heart. Hi. Hi, Christy. It's nice to see everyone. And so tonight we're going to talk about ditching the psychotropic drugs, known to do more harm often than good. And we can always count on homeopathy. I've seen this medicine that we're going to be talking about tonight transform lives, lives of suffering from depression and lack of interest in life, a feeling of worthlessness, a feeling of lack of joie de vivre. We would even use it for something like that. We would even use this medicine that we're going to be talking about tonight for not necessarily frank depression, but also for that lackluster life that's been going on for some time. We're not talking about short periods, although we can use it for that as well. So I'm sure those of you who have been studying homeopathy know what remedy I'm going to be talking about, particularly because we're in our materia medica and we're in the A's. So the remedy is aurum metallicum. Aurum, A-U-R-U-M, and for those of you who know Latin, that means gold, and metallicum, of course, means metal. So it's gold we're going to be talking about, aurum metallicum, one of the most beautiful medicines on this earth. God's medicine, I might add, because it can turn someone around without the psychotropic side effects that are so serious, so sweeping, so destructive in our society. And they're administering these psychotropic drugs to younger and younger people. And it's now going down to children, and we want to avoid that at almost any cost. So this medicine, all homeopaths know. We use it in a 200 potency. 200C is the most valuable or most available. I've used it for years, long before I learned protocols, but the Banerjees add a nice little interesting twist to depression and using these homeopathic medicines, this medicine or metallicum for depression, and they add coffea 200C. And so what they do is they like to use aurum metallicum 200C, one dose every other day, one dose, okay? So it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then additionally, coffea 200 twice daily. Works like a charm. Oftentimes we don't even need the coffea, but coffea adds another little punch, and particularly for frank depression. But we can also use aurum metallicum for men who have low testosterone. I've written about this on my blog. Who have low libido, who have no libido, who have erectile dysfunction. They're often connected with depression. Sometimes it isn't, but we still would use aurum metallicum for those masculine hormonal problems. We can also use aurum metallicum for sinus problems, sinusitis. We don't think of that first, but we often think about sinusitis associated with depression. And if we have low testosterone in this particular person, we can really do some good work. So I had a client years ago, very prominent man, intelligent, educated, a real go-getter, a good family man, and he was experiencing depression. And he never said anything about low testosterone, as I recall, but he had sinusitis. And at the time, I was new enough that I did not have a lot of experience with Aurum metallicum with sinusitis, but I knew about it, of course, in relationship to depression. So inadvertently, the sinus problems melted away, or at least went away enough that it was noteworthy. He noted it, came back to me, he said, not only do I feel more motivated because I'd lost that, not only do I look at life more cheerfully, but my sinuses are not bothering me. And so that's when it really came home for me, even though, I mean, I'd read it in the Materia Medicas. I knew that it was there, but I don't know, sometimes we don't completely, fully engage with a remedy like we should. And that was one of those circumstances. So it is a wonderful medicine for young men who are feeling that they don't fit into the world. They finished college, they're looking for a job, they're now strapped with an enormous amount of debt because of the ridiculous college tuitions. And they got a lot in the game, and yet they can't find a job, or they have lost interest in looking for a job. And so they start thinking about how maybe it was all worthless time, that perhaps they don't have the what they need. They don't feel ready and masculine to get into the world. I think that does have something to do with our society, I'll be honest. I think it has a lot to do with college, that's very focused on women in college and not on men. I think that college can often be a misplaced time. I think it's grossly overestimated in its value. And I think young men are pushed, their masculinity is pressed down and down and down, and instead of being brought out to be masculine and strong and holding the unity of the family and the community and being the protector, has been squashed. And I often worry about this in young men today. And when we see that, it doesn't, again, have to be frank depression for us to employ this medicine. Aurum metallicum 200C every other day can sometimes bring these young men out of the doldrums, so to speak, where they're kind of lost. They can't get the wind picking up in their sails. Let's see what else we've got. Oh, undescended testicles. And this can happen in animals. One of my clients today, who has become a friend through the years, sent me a picture of her bottom end of her dog today to show me his undescended testicle. And Aurum metallicum is the medicine. We can use that for he's a Chihuahua. Small man syndrome. So funny. We can use it for a Chihuahua, just like we can use it for a bull, just like we can use it for a baby boy, just like we can use it for a full-grown man. Undescended testicles is something that is very, of course, related to the hormones. And Aurum metallicum will often help that undescended testicle to drop appropriately without surgery. I mean, does it mean that we never go have a surgical procedure? No, it means we try homeopathy first. We do everything we can to avoid the battle of surgery on our bodies. If it's necessary, we submit. If not, and we can get away with using homeopathy, of course we are going to do that. Now, I was just asked by, I author a column in Wise Traditions, which is I know, I see all the hearts, I'm loving you back. I was just asked to speak or to write for Wise Traditions, which is Weston A. Price Foundation's quarterly journal. I have a column in there. I've been writing, I don't know, I think I've been authoring that column for close to 10 years. And I get to choose whatever subject I want this particular next summer edition. But it was suggested that I write about postpartum depression because the FDA is now just about to release the ability of and I can't remember the name of the pharmaceutical industry or the pharmaceutical company that's manufacturing a postpartum drug. Oh boy, gee, thanks. That's just what we need, is for us to be tinkering with a very tender time in a mother and a baby's life. I believe, and I'm just starting to write this article, and I get pretty worked up about it because I feel very strongly that the pill was supposed to give us freedom. And I think it has strapped women in many ways never conceived of when it was developed. And I believe that the pill is often, not always, and I don't know that I can prove this. I'm going to try to prove it in this article that I'm putting together. I don't know that I could prove it right now. I believe that it's very linked with the use of the birth control pill because you can't fool Mother Nature. We can't stop a woman from getting pregnant synthetically without causing harm on another level. And I believe that's one of the levels, and that is depression, postpartum depression, and depression also during menopause after having taken the birth control pill even decades earlier, because the body doesn't forget. So I'm going to try to make that argument, and I think I will be able to do so. It's something that I've observed through the years, I've been suspicious of through the years, and then homeopathy has confirmed it for me. So when it's depression, even though we're not in the S's, we're in the A's in our Materia Medica. I don't want to drop this and lead you to believe that Aurum Metallicum 200C every other day, and perhaps Coffea 200 twice daily, are the remedies that we use for depression and lack of interest and, also, by the way, fatigue, and then call it a day. Because there are many other remedies that we can consider for depression. So for women, postpartum depression, this is a writer downer. You want this for yourself if you're still in childbearing years. You want this for your daughter-in-law, your daughter, your neighbor, your dog that's giving birth, because the animals need this too, is, many of you probably know, sepia. Sepia 200C, administered approximately every 3 days, every 2 to 3 days, will often bring, and if it's very serious, and I've had cases where moms have just wanted to leave their babies, and they were leaving their babies, and social services was being called in, and the father's freaking, and the grandmother's freaking, and the mother just has this strong hormonal off, is the best way to put it. The hormones become so screwed up that she can't find the joy in her baby. She can't find the maternal desire to take care of her offspring. She can't bring herself to want to be with that baby. And she knows it's wrong mentally, intellectually, but hormonally she cannot help herself. And so sepia 200, approximately every other day, but if it's very serious, then we might use it twice a day for a few days. I've used this for dogs that have given birth and have left their puppies. I've given it to a cow that was refusing to nurse her calf. And as a matter of fact, when that happened, they gave it to the cow, and she immediately took the calf back in the fold. And they were the farmers were very concerned about this calf expiring because it didn't have any milk, and it had been days of the mother ignoring it. And when the calf was brought back into the fold and started to recover, they named the calf Joette. And for the longest time, I had a great photograph on my screen of Joette the calf. So it was a great honor for someone to name their important little girl calf. after me. And that's only because I had the information, not because I'm deserved such a fun thing to have named after me, but because I have information and you folks now have it. And then it is your job to get this information to your family and then to your neighbors and your church mates and your schoolmates and your colleagues. That's your job. Get this out there, ladies and gents. Get it out there. This is so critical. We have the ability with these 3 remedies and a handful of others to change the world. We can change the world. I actually believe that. I've seen it happen faster than I ever imagined. I never in a million years would have guessed that I would have had this kind of a following in such a short amount of time, just on this podcast alone. On my blog, we're touching millions. And if I can touch a couple million and you can touch 50, and then those 50 touch another 20, and they touch another 100, we can do this. It belongs in the hands of the families. It belongs in the hands of the mothers and the grandmothers and those men who are involved tonight and listening, you as well. But most it falls squarely on the shoulders of women folk. And yes, I'm loving you too. It's so great. So those are our medicines tonight. Aurum metallicum 200, Coffea 200, using a Banerjee protocol. Doctors Prasanta and Prateep Banerjee. And our, what was the third one? Sepia. How can I forget? Sepia 200. You don't need to take these medicines for a very long period of time. I want to tell you that when it comes to using Aurum metallicum, sometimes you only need a couple doses and it's done. And then maybe a couple weeks later, you start seeing it coming around again in your teenage son or your husband or yourself. It's not just a man's remedy. It can be for you as well. And you come around and then you drop back again. Do it again. Use it again. So you've stopped after it starts to act and you back off and you don't take it forever. This is not a drug. This is not a blood pressure drug that when they get you for life. No. Our goal is, I know I'm not supposed to say this, cure. That's our goal. We want to cure. We don't want to treat symptoms. We want to uproot the condition. That's what we're doing. And so with that, pass it along. Join our study groups if you haven't. You'll learn a ton with other like-minded people because they come with their problems, you come with yours, and you learn from each other. I think that's it. That's what I wanted to tell you tonight. I wanted to share that story with you, those stories with you, and set you on your way and watching out for those who need you. And with that, I say God bless and love to you all. Good night, ladies and gents.